First of all, congratulations on the gold medals of Carlos Yulo. You were a huge part of that victory for Calawod. Tell us all about your journey with Carlos Yulo. How did it start, and how exactly did you help him?
Okay, so at first, I was mainly in charge of providing him soft tissue occupational therapy, which entailed providing him tune up for his muscles, tendons, ligaments, giving him injury prevention exercises. And then 2024 is when we became more on point and like intensive and full-time in providing him what he needs. So as we were doing training camps in other countries, we were able to delve into helping him fix his biomechanics. It also evolved in providing him data science services, because I do believe that even if you're every day you're doing training but you're not able to keep track of what you're doing, it's going to be difficult to see how you're progressing or where to spot the patterns are that you need to fix in order for you to really focus on fine-tuning in an elite athletic level.
So there's a lot of science that goes into it, right? But what I wanted to point it out was the maturity of Calawod in Paris. It was so different,
surprising, really, in a good way.
And she interviewed him many years ago.
Yes, and 5 years ago.
She was the one who pointed out the transformation to us.
Calawod was shy, right? And even in competition, his confidence wasn't really, in full display. But in Paris, everything was different. And describe how, when you first met Calawod, and how he transformed into the gold medalist he is today.
When I first met Carlos, he was definitely a bit more within his shell. And now that you've seen him, I can describe him as he has more fighting spirit in him. He definitely feels more in tune with God, because he's more prayerful, and also the way he understands himself and his emotions. It's more scientific. It's less judgmental in oneself, and he has more of a structure on how he's going to go about his daily tasks, monthly tasks, and his life.
Coach Hazel, tell me exactly how you help Calawod. I mean, we know on paper you're supposed to be his occupational therapist, but on your IG bio, on your work IG bio, Mind Coach Hazel, you describe yourself as a mental health coach, sports coach, neuroscience, wellness, and social relationships. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we can see how this together, working together, all these metrics being hit, can lead to double gold medals. But exactly, what tweaks did you do with Calawod's program? What was his day like?
Okay, so, well, this is the thing. Because my weapon or my tool is my mouth and my knowledge, maybe for a person that doesn't understand a service provider like me, it may not be as seen immediately. But in terms of the research that you put into providing the right approach to elite athletes, these things that I describe myself are very powerful, because especially if you're talking about neuroscience, if we're talking about the brain, if you feed the right neural pathway in a person's brain, that unlocks a lot of good chemicals that can help boost the performance of an athlete. And again, it's how I am as an occupational therapist is holistic, because I understand that if there are different dimensions in a person's life that aren't able to be aligned in what a person should be doing, then the focus and the concentration will also be off, because there's a malalignment somewhere in a person's mind or in a person's heart. So that's also something that I monitor with Carlos. Other things that I described, where I also help with the stress and anxiety management, like providing a positive and collaborative approach during training, because I understand that, you know, as an athlete, you already have a lot on your plate. You have to be 24/7 on point. So if an athlete is receiving like negative feedback from the coaches, then that's another added layer of stress and anxiety that the brain of the athlete is going to process, you know. So providing like a positive approach to handling anyone, even in the workplace or anywhere else, really just takes out a layer that is unnecessary in order to get the growth that you want out of this person. So my job is quite interconnected, but basically what I try to do for Carlos is to see what else is not there, and then to personalize the approach in order to provide the best care possible, and in order to make sure that Carlos has the right tools that he needs, even if he has a small team.
What did you have to say to him, for instance, after the pommel horse, you know, fall?
I guess when that happened to him, I know that that gives him more motivation to keep going, because
So you know him to be like that he gets inspired by his own, so to speak, failures or mistakes.
Or is that something you had to teach him?
at first, what I understood from what we've discussed together is that sometimes it makes him go back to his shell. But you know,
Doubts
if
himself.
yes, because of course you want to be able to perform properly day by day, right? And you don't want to make mistakes because that's your job. But if there's someone guiding a person, okay, hey, it's fine. Look at this data. Even if you're not able to do this, example, there are 6 apparatus, and then he fell on one. But if he's going to see, like, okay, I didn't do well here, but I can still do well here, I can still do well here, then the judgment of himself about what he's able to give as an athlete doesn't destroy the mind and destroy the performance, because he understands that it's just one little part of a big thing.
Yeah. All right, Coach. Heidelin Diaz was one of the first Filipino athletes to really voice out and push that it's crucial to have an entire team if you want to be an elite athlete, winning gold medals in the Olympics, right? Having a nutritionist, your coach, a psychologist, the whole village, right?
The whole package.
The whole package. So heading into Los Angeles, do you think each of our Olympian should have that blueprint, that same formula, having an entire team?
I would highly recommend it, you know, because I mean, if one, the athlete already has the drive, the athlete is disciplined. Of course, there are athletes that need more, like, okay, like motivation and like discipline. But if you see athletes that are really like always hungry to provide a good performance, why not employ all these people and see where they can go, you know? Because so this is how I think of it. If you're an athlete, you're already thinking about your performance. You're already thinking about how hard the training was today and how heavy the physical training is today. And you have to manage that with your feelings, because the next day you're going to be so sore, but you still need to train very, very hard. So, and then if you don't have like people like psychologists or other or people looking into your nutrition, that's another layer of thing that you need to think about. Whereas if that was given to an athlete, then like, okay, the athlete will just have to focus on the performance, and everything else will be properly aligned for this athlete, and the athlete will be able to perform the proper job description, which is, please perform your very best, and we will take care of the rest.
There you go.
You're right, though. I think your work and all of its facets is still quite misunderstood here, because we're not so developed that way. But one of the things that caught my eye was your biomechanics system, wherein, as part of his training program, you would every day work with him to figure out which muscle group needed to be activated specifically for that training. That is so advanced. Talk us through that.
Okay, so yes, as my involvement in preparing Mr. Yulo going to the Olympics, the situation also needed to have that type of input because gymnastics is all about biomechanics, technically. All the angles, the form. If you do gymnastics and you're going to be judged according to the code of points of gymnastics, a simple 15 degree of angle of deviation is already 0.1 out of the
You're talking about the execution score.
Yes. So of course, in order for an athlete to be able to get the proper like alignment and proper shape of and proper force in order to produce a skill, you need. For me, what helped the process is that I love human anatomy. So example, Mr. Yulo would form a triple twist. And then I would see, oh, okay, during the landing, your landing is quite parallel to the floor. You should have a diagonal spine in order for you to in order for you to reduce the risk of moving forward. And example, he went like this. Oh, okay, your gluteal muscles didn't fire properly, or your hamstring muscles didn't fire properly during this time. So please, the next round that you do that, coordinate these muscles, coordinate that muscles, breathe in this direction, breathe in this pattern, and then try to coordinate all those, and let's see what's going to happen.
That is so fascinating.
Yeah, the world of science is fascinating.
It just helps athletes become so precise, right? And that's what you need when you're competing in the Olympics.
Yes.
Okay. And Hazel, did you also have input with regard to his diet, what he can eat, what he can't eat? At that level, I mean, can't he just eat anything and burn it all off in training anyways?
I think in the part of our preparation, there were little things that were also needed in order to make sure that the nutrition is on point. So in a sense, the diet support or the nutrition support from me came from if Mr. Carlos would say, okay, I really feel fatigued today here and there, and then and I would say, oh, okay, maybe Mr. Carlos needs more supplementation. Hey, why don't you ask your nutritionist if you can take more amino acids, because I know that amino acids are also needed for brain concentration as well as muscle repair. Why don't you ask your nutritionist if you can take this and if it's okay? So I will just give him science and research evidence here and there in order to get the nutrition more more
precise as
yes.
well.
Yeah, for performance.
Okay, well, we're running very quickly out of time, but I just had one last question for you, which is
Okay.
very quick, which is
Ms.
what's
Regina.
next for you? Are you also have you been getting calls from other
Yeah.
would-be Olympians,
Someone trying to pirate
people
you.
who want to reach the Olympics and said, well, she's got the answer. I want some of that.
Currently, I haven't checked my messages.
Okay,
I'm sure you've been bombarded as well. I mean, you're all over social media, so I'm sure you're getting a lot of messages. Okay, but keep us posted.
Thank you. I will.